Hello everybody, it's Andrew Hutchings here, still not a licensed physician, still never daring to give medical advice because I don't want legal trouble, just educational and entertainment. And this video is, will anabolic steroids stunt your growth if you're still growing? And the answer is, like most things, maybe. But to be more precise, it's estrogen that stunts the growth. Not all anabolic steroids are estrogenic, and not all of them convert into estrogens. I said those two things separately because the molecule itself could have estrogenic properties, but usually it's when they aromatize and it's into estrogen molecules that are, if it's not testosterone, they're going to be a little chemically different than natural estrogens, but it's once they've been converted to the estrogens that they exert their estrogenic effects, usually. So steroids like oxandrolone, which is Anavar, or stanozolol, which is Winstrol, or Masteron, or Primobolan, those are not going to stunt growth because they don't convert into estrogen. But how much would the estrogen-converting steroids stunt your growth? So the thing is, estrogen doesn't just instantly stunt the growth. It's not like you do a 4-week cycle of Dianabol at 20 milligrams a day and you're 14 years old and you're never going to grow again. Probably you're actually going to grow when you do that. I don't know for sure. No one can know for sure. Dianabol also isn't the most androgenic steroid. But if you're 14 and you took a lot of testosterone, which is more androgenic than Dianabol, you're probably going to grow. But the thing is, estrogen is what seals your growth plates. But like I said, it's not all at once. It's not like you do a 4-week cycle and they're sealed, now you can't grow the rest of your life. It's, you did that 4-week cycle, and now during those 4 weeks, so when you're a guy, a boy, so you're a boy going through puberty, you have high levels of testosterone, which means you have high levels of estrogen. So let's just say you're growing over a 5-year period. You grow longer than that, of course, but say you have that a 5 or 10-year period, and you have X amount of testosterone converting into X amount of estrogen every day of that time period. And it's going to take 10 years for you to stop growing because after 10 years, the amount of testosterone that is turned into estrogen was enough working on your bones each of those days of those 10 years that at the end of the 10 years, the growth plates are solidified, they can't keep growing. So if you were to increase your estrogen somewhere along that timeline, it would simply mean that it takes less than 10 years for your growth plates to solidify. It's not like if you do it halfway through, now you're only going to get halfway. You never get any further. No. Estrogen has been shown to have a long-acting cumulative effect. There's studies with girls, however, bones and boys and girls are pretty similar. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same in males. Any doctor would say so too, unless they're crazy. I mean, it might be a little micro bit different, but in girls, for example, it's been shown that if you give a girl estrogen, that how quickly her bones, the growth plates, fuse is dependent on how long she has already been alive with high estrogen. So if it's a 15-year-old girl, maybe giving her extra estrogen would seal her growth plates in 6 months. But if it's a 12-year-old girl, maybe it takes 3 years or 4 years. So it's a the estrogen is present in your body and it solidifies your growth plates just a little bit. But when those days add up, it's just like when you work out to build muscle. You don't just go to the gym for a week and all of a sudden you're huge. But if you do that for years and years, you're going to get bigger faster than if you had done it less often. It's really the same with working out. You have a natural limit, let's say. Now, of course, probably over time you could push that just a little further as long as you're not old. But if you work out a lot when you're young, you get to that limit quicker than if you work out less. So if you work out twice as much, maybe you hit that limit twice as fast. Same with estrogen. If you were a young boy and you took testosterone that's twice as high as your normal testosterone, you can't say that it would be exactly twice as fast that your growth plates seal, because twice as much testosterone does not necessarily mean twice as much estrogen. So it will depend on how much your body converts into estrogen, and then it will depend on how sensitive your body is to the androgenic action of testosterone, because androgens cause bones to elongate. Estrogens cause the growth plates to solidify so they can't keep elongating. So depending on your biochemistry, you may take testosterone, have more testosterone and estrogen than normal, but your testosterone to estrogen ratio is different than it would be naturally, and now you're growing faster. The rate at which you're growing faster is higher than the rate at which you are solidifying your growth plates compared to normal. So you may actually grow taller. Now, I can't remember, I read these studies like 5, 6, 7 years ago about boys and growth. I remember the best is when they're given testosterone, oxandrolone, and human growth hormone. I think the testosterone groups did good, but they did stop growing sooner because, like I said, testosterone turns into estrogen, so it's going to decrease the amount of time it takes for your growth plates to solidify because you have more estrogen solidifying them faster. Now, the thing about those studies is they weren't comparing them to normal, because they couldn't. These were boys that had biological problems preventing them from growing. So they compared the ones given testosterone to the ones given oxandrolone to the ones given testosterone and oxandrolone to the ones given human growth hormone with combos. And they found that testosterone works well to help them grow more, but it can do better when the estrogen levels are lower and when human growth hormone is higher. So you got to wrap that up just one more time. Steroids that turn into estrogen will cause you to stop growing sooner, but they will not immediately stunt your growth. And in fact, their androgenic properties will make you grow faster. So you're growing faster and you're stopping growing faster. Those two things maybe increase the same amount. Maybe the faster growing increases more than the stop of growing, and you grow taller than normal. Maybe your stop of growing was increased a little bit more than your speed of growing, and you grow less tall. But either way, and I'm not a licensed physician, and it's not medical advice, if you are a boy and you take anabolic steroids, you're not going to stunt your growth in the classical sense of you're 12 years old and you're 5'2" and you take some Dianabol and now you're never going to grow any taller for the rest of your life. That's not happening. Unless you take so much that it's just so much estrogen exposure that it's accelerated so quickly. But it's probably not going to. I mean, you're probably not going to feed a 12-year-old like half a gram of D-ball a day or give him and even if you did, like I said, the androgenic activity makes you grow faster, but D-ball's not very androgenic compared to testosterone. I mean, it is, but it's less so. So D-ball's a bad example if you want to actually grow more. If you want to grow more from steroids, you'd want to take ones that don't convert to estrogen, or at the very least, testosterone. But ideally, you decrease your estrogen. So testosterone plus aromatase inhibitor, or low-level testosterone plus oxandrolone, or low-level testosterone plus primobolan. You would not want to go with just primobolan or just oxandrolone, because you do need estrogen for healthy bodily functions, and you need actual testosterone. But you should not be doing any of this. Hope you like this video. My website is andrewhutchings.org, where you can hire me for consultations and buy my book. If you like tendinitis, my book's not for you, but you could still buy it and just keep it on your shelf in case you change your mind and you don't like tendinitis in the future. That's a good idea. I would do that if I were you. And my Instagram is natural_true_fitness. And my cat is Skeeter with a cone. She typically has a cone because she scratches her neck a lot. Well, she doesn't want to be in my arms.